Good morning, Sonder family. I was super excited to share that song with you this morning. I'm Jennifer Ogilvy. First, let me do that. If you are joining us for the first time, I'll be your on-screen facilitator as we set up a brand new week. And joining me, hanging out in the chat this morning, the fabulous Maya Martin Glenn, my co-pilot. And we are so glad to be waking up with you, starting our week. So that song, I know I was real excited to share because we are doing Theo of Golden in the Silk and Sonder informal, unofficial book club that Maya has put together. She'll actually drop the link for that if that's something you wanted to check out. It's through the Fable app. But we are currently doing Theo of Golden, kind of starting to wrap things up, and that is written by Alan Levi. And that song that you heard, Almost Perfect Day, is actually written and performed by Alan Levi. So the author of Theo of Golden is also a singer-songwriter. And I thought you guys might enjoy that little fun fact. Another fun fact is I have a virtual local book club through my PEO organization, and we did Theo of Golden at the same time. And so I got to be the moderator of that one. So when I was looking up information on Alan Levi, I discovered because I always like to do a little author's background. He was a practicing attorney. He had always played guitar, always had music in his life, and practiced law for a bit, and then decided I'm going to see if I can make a thing out of this musician's life. Ultimately ended up chasing this dream. Very inspiring for us. We are all very trying to be very intentional with our lives, so we can really relate to that reflection. He has supported the organization Young Life through his songs through the years, lives with his 96-year-old father on a farm, and said he is contently single because he said, I wanted to be a musician, and I felt like that was too much to ask of someone else to give up and, do that. That's a lifestyle that is not conducive. I mean, very thoughtful guy. But I heard a beautiful interview with him. Anyway, I was like, oh, he's a musician. Found this song, Almost Perfect Day. Wanted to share Alan Levi with you. So, welcome to summer. Yesterday, we was the I always say I think of solstice as the tipping point. So now our beautiful long days are going to start getting shorter and shorter and shorter as we travel through this warm, warm season. But yeah, it is solstice, and so lots of sunshines today. Um, and yeah, so make sure your chat is set to everyone. If you're joining us for the first time, drop a me in the chat so we can give you a big welcome. I'm seeing all of our familiar folks, our accountability buddies. We are here with one another. Because it is solstice, I wanted to share a couple things with you. This was in Sonder Club this week, and someone is just kind of embracing this time of year. This mandala started with a couple of circles, and then you just start doodling lines and creating your own mandala. That could just be a nice practice to welcome in the official start of summer. And then she also did a page with a little bit of poetry and some fun summary stickers. So that might just inspire you if you're needing to sit with your journal and work a little bit this week. And I love the little sunshine there in the middle of that mandala. Secondly, this week on Wednesday, we'll have, I think this might be the last journaling prompt session for the month. And we are going to be working on that flow mapping page, but also the affirmation sun. So I have my page all set up. I won't be facilitating that one, but I've got my page set up ready to accept those summertime affirmations. So you might want to check that out as we're being mindful of the beginning of a new season on Wednesday. Join your Sonder family. All righty. And so there's our community guidelines. I'm seeing our familiar folks. So you've seen these before. You know that we share these because of the good, safe spaces we create for one another. So if you need to just kind of refresh, feel free to do a quick glance over, but we do share those. And we are well into flow this month. And I'm hoping that your July journals have been hitting your mailboxes because we are going to jump right from flow into another beautiful theme that's really going to help us just like find our vibes. So excited about that. I won't say the theme out loud in case someone is still waiting on their July journal, but flow is going to go right into the next journal in such a beautiful way. I've been sharing this idea of the components that have to come together for us to find our flow, and change the graphic up a little bit, but the same information is there. And so hopefully as you've been going through your month, working on your journal, working on these prompts, hanging out with one another, you are finding exactly what brings you flow, or maybe what's standing in the way of flow as we've explored this very fun theme for summer. Our morning is going to look like this. We'll do that flow mind map. If you happen to be here for the first time, that is your extra prompt that you get when you come to a weekly setup. It's not found in your journal. So it's kind of a bonus for showing up for yourself at a weekly setup and having accountability with your journal. Oh, Lynn says, I've got my July journal, but it's in the package. I haven't opened it yet. Not going to say anything. We're gonna do that bonus prompt. We're on week 3 of our mind map. We have 4 weeks worth of questions. Then we do our rosebud thorn reflection, and then we have our weekly setup. And I know many of you are like, I've got my flow. I know what I'm gonna do, but I am here for the accountability piece, for the community piece. But I will also have some y'all are so I'm so proud of you for like delaying opening that package. That package comes and man, I rip it open. I look and see what we're coloring. And then I go look at the journal prompts. I don't wait on mine. I guess we've got two teams, right? Team wait and team. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to see what's in there. Yeah, a gift to yourself for sure, Radhika. Anyhow, I digress. So I'm going to show you some examples of weekly setup and spaces. So maybe something that you see today will inspire you. So let's get going with that mind map. And of course, like I said, we're on week 3. If you haven't been with us and you're tackling this for the first time, just work on week 3. You can grab a screenshot if you want of the other 2 weeks, but there's no catching up. You just do it. You just enjoy the prompt. Additionally, this is being recorded as the other 2 socials we had this weekend. I did one yesterday, and then Bailey led the one on Saturday. So there'll be 3 options for you to go back and look at if you need to grab anything. So, all righty. So week 1 was about our current flow, thinking about where we would naturally flow. Last week we thought, oh, what does it look like if I stop fighting if I just go with the flow and stop swimming against the current? This week is around the flow. And the question we're considering as we do this reflection is, if I were building a bridge over the rapids in my life, what support, boundaries, or changes would help me cross with more trust and steadiness? All righty. So I thought this is a really good time to do a check-in with yourself. If you are feeling like maybe things are a little tough, go look at that graphic there. Like if you have some feelings of anxiousness, overwhelming, feelings, insecure, helpless, there are some things, some suggestions for some things to do to maybe help you reset, get that mindset ready to tackle whatever it is. Think about the supports and boundaries that you could benefit from placing in your life to weather those rapids. I've also got a sunshine graphic with some energy givers there. So a lot of those things might feed into what goes into your bridge. And I'll share mine with you. So let me just read it. I said, when I really stop to think about how I respond to the rapids in my life, I realize what I do is I resort to habits that don't necessarily serve me, but they make me feel like I have control over something. Like, so basically, when the rapids are going, I'm seeking control, and I usually do it in a really negative way. My biggest one is neglecting rest, and that's probably the thing I need the most is sleep needs to go on that bridge. So I participate in something called revenge bedtime, and it feeds my need for control. And revenge bedtime is that idea of, it's time for bed, but you stay up and do what you want to do anyway. It's also a secondary one would be for me, well, I'll just eat chips and salsa, like I can do that. I want to exercise control over maybe something. I want control to show up because I don't have control over something. So, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to schedule a daily check-in, and my example there says 8:30, and I actually backed it up to 8 o'clock, and I'll tell you why that is in a minute. I'm going to try a different 3-2-1 method for bedtime, and I'm going to go through the HALT questions. So I put that HALT graphic on there. And if I'm thinking I'm trying to be in control over something, I'm going to turn to my distraction list so that I can focus on that and, get a reset to what I'm thinking, my mind. And I've shared my distraction list before, y'all. It's just, my little toolbox of my go-tos if I'm feeling anxious or worried or out of control. And I keep that distractions list in my Google Keep on my phone. So it's always at my fingertips. And I can't do all of them all the time. Sometimes like if I'm somewhere, I've always laughed. I can't just take my shoes off and go sit in the grass. Maybe I might be in a building. And so at that point, I could do something like, do my breath work, say a little breath prayer. I don't think it'd be appropriate to dig in the dirt at the hospital if I'm there. But I keep this distraction list and I wanted to share it with you because it's a way that I created some support for myself for those anxious times, for that the when the rapids come. The HALT method is checking in with self to see if you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. And those four things usually, if you can address them and you're pretty solid within those four realms, you're more than likely at a decent place. That the HALT method is from the world of recovery, and you can see it's actually on my distraction list as well. Like just halt, like just stop and check in with myself. Um, I've got an example of somebody who did three major goals, and you can see that they are ways of building a bridge over rapids. Listen to my body, do what I can, but don't push it. Be kind to myself. So that's just kind of where my head went for this one. I'm gonna put on some music while you do this reflection. Think about your go-tos. What does life look like when you have rapids? How do you navigate that and go over, what do you do to kind of protect yourself from those so that you're better able to weather the rapids? And as always, feel free to share what comes up for you. All righty. I think I need to add to my distractions list, like go check in with Sonder Club. Y'all have shown such beautiful support for one another this morning with those of you who are comfortable sharing with what's kind of coming up for you. And, Lynn, it is okay to just let this one kind of marinate and bounce around and think about, what support or boundaries or the changes. Those are changes always hard, but like, are there some changes that need to happen so that you're feeling like you've got those boundaries that you're looking to have? So yeah, and I do too. I love that. That was the O'Neill Brothers group doing Bridge Over Troubled Waters. And it was like, I was just sitting there listening and thinking about, yeah, it's really what I will lay me down. Like what helps you kind of get that mindset. So, yeah, so give yourself the space. This one might kind of bounce around all week long. So now let's take a look at what last week brought us, see where we can find gratitude or just leave some things behind, say goodbye, goodbye to the week. We're going to be on page 44 for our Rosebud Thorn reflection this morning. And then, like I was saying, we love Adam Grant. He and Brene Brown have that new podcast, and he's just, I love him. But I saw this quote on like his X account or whatever, and I thought this is a Sonder community quote because he says, in hard times, people don't want to be told to look on the bright side. They want to know you're on their side. And I was like, that's Sonder family. Even if you can't help them feel better, you can always help them feel seen. And I think y'all do that in such beautiful, magical ways when you gather together. And the best way to support others is not to cheer them up, it's to show up. And so I just wanted to, give y'all a pat on the back for showing up and being here for each other. So let's look at what the week brought. What were your thorns, your challenges, the things that maybe didn't go your way? Maybe you had some control over them, maybe you didn't. Could be some health stuff. Let's write that down, put it on paper. Is there a learning from that thorn? Is there something that you learned about yourself? Are you a little more resilient than you realized? And I had shared, for me, it was a couple of revenge bedtimes, which is why I kind of wrote to that, I think, on my mind map. I've just been a little off for a few months now. And so I realized I was just kind of doing this revenge bedtime. But what happens is then I feel crummy because I'm not getting the good rest I'm supposed to have. The bud for me, the thing I'm looking forward to, it's almost time. Like I need to start mapping out my fall seedlings. Like I have two growing seasons in Dallas, and I'm gonna get some little tomatoes going soon for my fall tomatoes. And so I have to start thinking about getting all that. And y'all know I love to garden, so that's a bud for me that's coming up. My spring garden is okay. I've got great flowers, but my fruits and my veggies did not do great, and it's because I wasn't able to attend to it when I needed to. All that timing with my brother's death and then gardening just did not pan out. So I'm looking forward to a fresh start with that and maybe have a better season in the fall. And then my rose is I had a pretty productive week last week, and my to-do list got somewhat shortened, and it felt really good to knock off a few things. So I've got, irons in the fire in many places, and a lot of things just got taken care of that I hadn't been able to get to. So that's for me. That's that was the highlight of my week. So let's take just a few moments and let's celebrate what the week brought our way and share as you're comfortable. right. Good reflecting over last week. And now it's time for a brand new week. So let's get going with our setup. And y'all know I talk too much, so I'm going to try to go through these slides so we can finish on time and you can get to see all the great examples from Sonder family. So this week we're setting up pages 46, 47, week 26. We're kind of getting in the middle of the year now. And y'all, I actually got my setup done in time for sharing the setup. So these are my these are my pages for the week, and I thought I'd just share that with you. My weekly to-do list actually goes on the weekly spread. So I have been doing my weekly connections. How have I connected to people socially? And I've just been listing that out for the last couple of weeks, trying to be intentional. You know, it's very important for older people to have good social connections. So trying to throw some intention in that direction. And then my three goals: nutrition, rest, and movement. And I have tied some of that into other spaces in my journal. So my movement, my third goal, it says see mind, body, health. And so over there I have like this little menu of just some little bitty things I can do throughout the day. Maybe go pick up my hand weights and, walk outside and back, just trying to be a little more intentional with intentional movement. Um, and then my bedtime, I was telling y'all, so I had done three, I was going to do an 8:30 at night check-in, but there's this method called the 3-2-1 method for bedtime, and it's no food for 3 hours before bed, no working of any kind 2 hours before bed. So, no housework, no get on your computer and work, and then no screen time 1 hour before bed. So I'm going to try that 3-2-1 idea about getting ready for bed. So I needed to move my 8:30 back to 8 o'clock because 11 o'clock is going to be my target bedtime, or like in bed asleep time. So that's my number two goal for the week. And then my habit and activity tracker was actually inspired by a graphic that had weekly challenges on it. I'm going to share that with you. So I have like some things on there: water, clean eating, sleep by 11, 15 minutes of reading a physical book. I listen to books like crazy, but to actually hold a book, and 15 minutes of creative time. My meal plan is inspired by the Flow calendar of Silk and Sonder. I'll show you that example. And then I just kind of have a little bingo list over there for my shopping, with what I want to create, what I need to clean, and what needs to happen in my garden. So there's my setup for the week. And I was really proud that I was ahead of the game this week because I'm usually finishing up my setup after I've led weekly setups. Here are the special days this week. If you want to add a little fun, a little punch to your days, the 23rd is Pink Day, and the 25th is Bomb Pop Day. So some fun stuff. You take your dog to work day on the 26th. So that's just some fun things to frame out, especially if you're like, I don't like summer, I don't like the heat, then find ways of embracing some fun things for your days. So perhaps that will inspire one of your spaces. And then the weekly challenge graphic over there is the one that kind of inspired me with a few of my habities for the week. So I'm going to show this one now, and I'll show it again when we work on the second page in case something speaks to you and you want to put that into your journal. Here's a couple of fun examples from y'all that I threw in there of how to set that up. And I love the one on the left. They're covering that little calendar, the small calendar, with some sticker paper or whatever, so that they can expand that space for another purpose in there. So I thought that was a great idea. Let's start with how we want to feel. I've got that feeling graphic from our um, reflection this morning on our mind map. So, do a self check-in. Think about those suns we saw at the very beginning. How are you feeling and what do you need for this week? Perhaps you counter that feeling with, like the opposite word. Like if you're feeling overwhelmed, maybe you want to feel centered. So think about that. Every day is pink in your world. I love that, Radhika. Um, Oh, Beth Ann's we got birthday girls this week. Man, I love it. All righty. So let's think about how do we want to feel this week? What are we claiming for the week? This is an old graphic from Gloria, like from years ago, and I've thrown this in a couple of times this month. This week, I want to flow like the water and find moments of zen. Carly says, I want to feel beauty all around me. I love that. Really, that's talk about, just focusing in on life, looking for the beautiful moments. Carly, I love that. That's beautiful. So there's a word cloud if something jumps out to you, or share in the chat the feeling that you're going with because your feeling might be a word that someone else can gravitate to. Maybe you're using the same word all month. Maybe you're just, I want to find my flow. That's how I want to feel. Caught up. Cheryl, that one shows up for me so often. I want to feel caught up this week, caught up and productive. Ease. I love that. I want to feel my own power. Ooh, I love that, Carla. You do. You have good power. Heather says radiant, radiant ease. I love that. Renewed from Alice, energized from Sandra. So love these. Love these. All right. So keep them coming while I'm talking. I'm going to go through some more slides. We've got our three major goals for the week, although you may end up putting a little mini tracker in this space. Maybe, you're just going to focus more on a to-do list. We do suggest maybe a category mindset, and then you just plug something in for each category. And a suggestion to go look at page 8 at your stop, start, and continue space. That's a great place to inform the goals you have for your week. We filled that out at the beginning of June saying, this is what I want for June. So maybe go take a look at that, and perhaps that shows up as a start, stop, and continue goal for the week. And then we've just got some fun examples from our Sonder family. And you can see the both examples on flanking the middle one. The right and the left examples have their three goals and then sort of how they're going to happen. What do they need to put in place to support those three goals? And we've got learn, leap, let go for the one on the right. And then the one on the left in the to-do space, they have a plan. And so I love the affirmation there. I will prioritize self-care. And then there's the ways they're going to do that. Kind of a little bingo board there. I will be present. I love when we claim those things with statements that are strong like that. You can also repurpose this space for something and some suggestions. Maybe you find some quotes. Maybe you do a bingo board, or you want to learn three new things this week. So you kind of dilly-dally around with some new topics. Maybe you're looking at some reads or some movie, some media consumption. What are you going to do? Perhaps you choose three songs to be your mantra for this first full week of summer. Or maybe you make an additional tracker, like you can see this rhythms and routines, these rhythm and routine trackers that folks have set up there. Then we have our to-do list, and so many of us just go, I didn't get, I didn't, I didn't do, I did, my journal's empty, I didn't, and we start fussing about ourselves. And I want to remind you that, there are alternatives to I did nothing. Maybe you needed that time to recharge, to give yourself a break, allow yourself to slow down. The blank spaces hold as much power as filled spaces. And so maybe that's the message you need to hear, that you needed some downtime. And you didn't write it in, but it happened anyway. They say the body keeps track. So don't be hard on yourself. Think about how you can reframe that idea of I did nothing, because the something you did might have been what you needed. You might have needed a little bit of rest, tired people. We have these examples again of taking goals and then informing those to-dos directly. And the one on the left is kind of fun because the third goal was three things I'm proud of. And they've left that space blank and they'll just do that little reflection as the week rolls along. We have the Eisenhower matrix. We always mention this about, a way to work smart, not hard. And so these are great ways to look at all the things you have to do. Maybe grocery shopping's on your list, but you end up delegating it to Walmart and you go by and pick it up. And so that was a delegation. Your delete list can be the things that are standing in your way of following through with the things that you want to do. So maybe your distractions that are not positive distractions go in your delete list. But this is a good way of figuring out what is really the most important things I need to do this week. Need, want, hope to do. There's a great example there. This helps you sort of understand what you need to support those ideas. And then you can kind of repurpose your to-do list into a to-do list to celebrate the things that you do that maybe were not on the list, but let's give ourselves credit for it. Maybe you want to lean into how I want to feel or how I want to be. So again, sometimes that repurpose is what we need. Again, I'm using mine for how did I connect with people? And then I'm going to go ahead and go over our habits and activities. This is that bottom section on the page. Remember, we want to keep those habits and activities as simple as we can because then we're going to be more successful. If we just take off this idea of a big chunky habit, we may not be as successful. Let's break it down into small steps. So, I want to walk 10,000 steps. Maybe you've only been walking 3,000. Well, the first thing would be, maybe you put your sneakers on first thing in the morning. And that's the goal. And, once the shoes are on, then maybe the rest will unfold. So we want to keep them easy. Great examples of how to use this tracker. You can throw something over it, like the middle left there, and let it just be another reflection space. Or you can see right next door to that, it just became a place for stickers to go. You can circle the days that certain things need to happen. I love this tracker for that purpose. It helps me track some medication that I don't take on the daily. So I can just circle that the day that needs to happen so I don't lose track of that in my head. Setting a goal is okay, but also not setting a goal, just using this as a straight tracker. So you can see some great examples here of all of those things. The upper right hand one, three goals. You don't have to fill in all the spaces. I know y'all know that. Sharing this one from a while back. Someone wanted to build systems into their week. And so one of the systems they built had to do around their nighttime rhythms and routines. And so they have done like a timeline of what their nightly routine looks like. And so you can see that is showing up in the habit and activity tracker. And it's tied to those times, they're going to make it happen. Also, this idea of chores and tasks with a podcast. So pairing a couple of things together. So you're feeding your brain while you're cleaning your house. I love that. I put this June purpose checklist from a long time ago. That was an old theme that we had because I loved the things on the graphic. Trust your intuition. We were kind of talking about weathering those rapids. Set your intentional goals, reduce your screen time, practice gratitude, reflect daily, and stay true to yourself. All very flow friendly things to do. And then some tiny habits to change your life. Let me put on some music while you work on this page, and then we'll pop over to our second page. Share kind of what you're doing, what you're thinking, what you're repurposing. I'll go back through these slides while you do that. I always love the ending of that song because it's so victorious. So like, yeah, I did it. So while you're finishing up, Lynn, I'm cracking up because there have been many times that I've done a social in my pajama bottoms and I've only put on like the shirt. So nobody has to know. Let's look at this second part of our setup today, the meal plan, the mind body health plan, the shopping list. You can see some examples of the meal plan set up as a meal plan there, but we do repurpose that space a lot. Some of you don't worry about putting your food stuff in this journal and you do other things, or you might use a different space for maybe like the main meal of the day. We're going to go through a bunch of just examples from y'all. And then we'll give you the space to work on this as well. So I don't want to talk too much, but there's that graphic again about celebrating our week. Maybe that shows up somewhere here, or you throw yourself a couple of challenges for reading, working out, getting to bed on time, that kind of thing. Here are chore lists, and they're showing up in all the different spaces. So it's what it could look like if you incorporate your chore list on this page. You can see Mind Body Health Plan, shopping list, and the menu planner, the food planner. All of these are just people's chores, where what their chores are for the week. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to take a look at what chore lists can look like in our different spaces there. Here's the same kind of idea with affirmations. They can show up in different spaces in this journal. So the Mind Body Health Plan, maybe your to-do list becomes where you put your affirmations, or your three goals are in affirmation form, or you use the menu plan as well. So all of those are ways to have affirmations show up. We love the GLAD technique. This is where we do these little mini considerations about what I'm glad about, what I learned, one thing I accomplished, and something that delighted me. And this is a lovely way to do a little daily check-in, daily reflection. You can see someone did it in their meal plan, someone else did it on the shopping list. But, just trying to be mindful about those things that show up in our life. Here's some great examples of the meal plan. I used this meal plan example last week. It's from Kimberly L. And we loved it because she did a theme for all of her main meals that week. So she had picnic at home, coastal beach, backyard barbecue. And she said, I have to make things fun in life or they're not going to happen. So we loved that. Yeah, she is so creative. You're right, Radhika. But I wanted you to take a look at that again. I love the Jersey Shore dinner. And it's breakfast for supper, but I love that. Or maybe your main meals go in a space like the Mind Body Health Plan, like the example you see there. I'll kind of go through this repurpose of the menu plan there. Also, a call out to the feels and meals. So, this could be used in two ways. If you find yourself struggling with not making good choices and you just are not, you're just kind of like, I'm hungry, I'm sad and I go eat. Maybe you write about how you're feeling when you are ingesting something, right? Or this could be a reflection on how did this food hit for me? How am I feeling after eating XYZ? And it can kind of be a symptom tracker. So that's a great suggestion for this space. I shared with you that's my meal plan there. I'm using the 30 Days of Flow graphic from Silk and Sonder. It's still on the Facebook page, and you can scroll back through Instagram to find it. But that's just been inspiring my meal plan. For now, I might do something else, next month. Haven't quite figured it out. We speak to the 7 types of rest. And we've talked a little bit about rest today. So perhaps this is something that gets put in place this week. If that's one of the ways you put a bridge over your rapids. We've got the Mind Body Health Plan. I've got some more 7 types of rest, how someone's incorporating that. You could make your days fun with some alliteration. So there's some suggestions there. And then we've got some more examples of just setting these spaces up. We've got the shopping list, which can be a shopping list, or I know a lot of you repurpose that. here's an idea of looking for some energy givers, especially if you're hot and feeling a little, wilty. Maybe you incorporate a graphic with this kind of information somewhere in your journal to go tap into that good energy. Love that, Maya. So that's a great way to not feel so wilty in the hot summer. I love the tunes bingo, made a playlist, and then they're going to listen to those great songs. And there's Pink Day this week, so maybe we throw some pink on there. But I love how their favorite artists are showing up there, and then they're just going to embrace them with a bingo this week. Self-care, maybe a wardrobe tracker for the shopping list. Here is a way to do any rhythms and routines. And so you can see these are all different, but they are from that shopping list. And so folks have used this as a way to incorporate rhythms and routines in their day. So you can make it as a checklist or you can just list them. But I thought that was great inspiration. My good night routine is up there. I did that a few times. And there it is in bed by 10:30. It didn't get checked off, but it was there at least. And then we've got some more inspiration, the dopamine menu. Get the good dopamine, not the quick hits, but the good stuff that's really going to satisfy your brain. Some activity planners there. That's a kid's planner, but y'all, I mean, pool time, a picnic at the park, an ice cream craft. What could that mean? When was the last time you had a teddy bear picnic? So maybe you put a little bit of fun into your world and some more challenges there. 21-day challenge, maybe some of those will inform that. That's a gratitude challenge. We've got that gratitude list. I actually did a brain dump gratitude this month for that list, so I filled it out completely at one sitting. We've got some self-care ideas for June. And yeah, finally, what are you loving? Drop that in the chat. Let me put on some music. I'll go back through all these slides so you can grab what you want for your journal and share what you'll be doing this week. All right, you guys, we have done it. We hung out with each other. I didn't talk so much that we went over. It's just been such a delight to start our days together. Be sure that you drop in the chat what you are loving this week. We want to get some good vibes going there. And check into that social that'll be this week. We'll be doing we're going to start July setups. Can y'all believe that? Maya just dropped the link to the YouTube channel. If you haven't bookmarked that yet, go grab that and bookmark it. And oh, fireflies. I love that, Sandra. I love fireflies riding. Oh, a city bike and going for, I love that. Lucy, oh, I want to come bike ride with you. Y'all have some great things. That's making me smile. Yeah, so thanks for joining us. Be sure that you take good care of yourself. I send you a lot of light and love. Thank you for starting your day with Maya and me and your Sonder community. Make it a good day, Sonder family. We'll see you very soon.
I drive a beat up car, a caravan, the color blue. Reminds me of your eyes and all the places we've been to. We're tethered to the leather, searching for a better view. It's interstellar when it's me and you. We're taking off. We're taking off. This is what I live for, baby, on my open road. You can take me anywhere, the windows right into the great unknown. We can throw our hands up out the window. This is what we live for. We look up at the stars, a perfect night to dream with you. Got 90s retro